Hello, Calais. How are we doing today? My name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working more on the Elona RPG. Yes, the Elona RPG. The game about doing things. Because that's the best way to kind of describe Elona, is a game about doing things. Because it can do anything and nothing at the same time, because it's janglish. Good old-fashioned janglish. So, let's get to it. So, last time we got attributes sort of hammered out. We know how to generate them, and maybe that's the real difficulty right there. Today I want to work on, how do I want to word this? I want to work more on how the game's going to be played, if that makes sense. I know that seems kind of silly to say, but yeah, kind of like how the game is played. Because I've been thinking about it and I'm like, oh Jesus Christmas Christ, I really don't know how this is going to play. So let's get to it. Readjust my life here a little bit. I've got my beer. I've got my chronic alcoholism. I am doing as they say in the hood. I am doing as they say. What? Lucas posting cringe as usual, and I'm being forced to deal with it. Yes, doing things. Spoiler, the game isn't played. You've got the magic tech and crystals, like Final Fantasy VI Treasure Planet in Atlantis. That doesn't really address, that doesn't really address the larger issue I was going with the video, because you've left this comment in 3 separate places at this point. The main thing that I was talking about with the fantasy video, Solid, was that I can't get any good ideas for it to make a different game that isn't going into a hole and killing goblins for money. Nothing really snapped together, and if you start adding in like, oh, it's Magitech, I start saying, why couldn't this just be easier if I make it a literally anything else, like space game, or I make a cyberpunk game, or if I make something even a more modern game or something like that, there's a lot more I could do with that if it wasn't that. Even Treasure Planet, like Treasure Planet is quite literally a space game. It's just a space game, except everyone says it is, instead of having boats, you have space boats. Let's be honest, they were space boats. Atlantis is literally a pulp. The first half of Atlantis is a classic pulp novel. It literally is referenced religiously, in fact, of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You could arguably call Atlantis an adaptation of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Quite a bit, actually. And it's about a mixing of cultures. Modern day, a lot of stuff you can do with that. Final Fantasy VI is, you could argue, to be that. But Final Fantasy VI is also a very unique game with a very unique world, very tied to the characters being played. Don't know why you would ever want to play a Final Fantasy VI RPG, because either you set it after everything, in which everything is solved, or you just play Final Fantasy VI, the campaign. That's kind of the issue. That's kind of the issue with a lot of the Final Fantasy games, but that was also one of the big reasons in my Final Fantasy stream. I actually say pretty actively, any game could be a Final Fantasy game. It doesn't matter what the game is, all that matters is the Final Fantasy is what you make it. So yeah, that's my decisive opinion on that, Solid. So, yeah, Elona is played. It does have a pretty ardent fan base. People do enjoy the game quite a bit. I have learned that what we're going to have to do is literally dice in one-step increments, because that's what Cole wanted, so that's what we're doing. Generally speaking, for skills, because if we go to Elona skills, these are the skills we're working with. Like, if we just take everything like one after another, because like what influences what, and it's like, oh, hello phone, we have the armor skill. Okay, what does the armor skill do? Like, it's like, SpaghettiOs. Yeah, so I'm just gonna just give you an idea of the number of these different skills to think about, that I'm gonna have to make a call of what to do with them, because mind you, this isn't everything either. These aren't all your skills, and we're not done yet, by the way. We still have a couple more to go. There are many skills, and many skills do things slightly differently from one another. Like, to give you an idea, this is the number of skills to work with, and there are more. That's the funny part. But there are also, like, if we go to Gene Machine, if we complete that, you have to get the Gene Engineering skill. And you're like, wait a second, there are skills which are effectively not represented directly. You're going to have to get the skills. And it's like, oh, that's horrifying. That's terrible, because because that's not what the skills are, in fact. These are the skills. And there are a lot more skills. And there are skills which go into one another, which may or may not be base skills, which may or may not be advanced skills. Like, if we do learning, yeah, alright, so here are all the skills we're working with. Like, we're gonna just go through all of them. Alright, we're gonna do it, and it's gonna be fine, and I'm gonna have fun. What's the difference between fantasy and supernatural? Solid, did you watch the video or not? That was kind of my issue, is that fantasy is so broad. almost everything is in fantasy, but the millisecond you put a singular note on it, suddenly it becomes a lot more complicated. Fantasy has to have magic, but that excludes a lot of other things, and what do you call that? Fantasy has to be medieval. There's a bunch of different things to go off of. That's kind of the issue, is that there are so many different things with it. Is that some fantasy would be considered to have supernatural elements to it, but everything supernatural would be naturally considered fantasy. That was one of the things that I was having a lot of issues with. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna worry about this. So we've got, generally speaking, we do have various levels. Yeah, level 4 skills and things like that. These are going to be D100 skills right off the bat. So, oh geez. Well, I mean, if we base, I mean, if we base things off of, well, let's do what would be combat skills? Let's just think about combat skills right now. Nothing more, nothing less, just combat skills. And those combat skills would be things like longsword, axe, martial arts, scythe, two-hand. Let me double check the two-hand skill. Ah, yes. The skill for generating bonuses for fighting with one-handed weapons, with a single weapon. Okay, I'm looking at this wrong. Okay, how do I want to do this? Because generally speaking, if we want to build a comprehensive list, I do mean a comprehensive list of skills that are going to be used, let's start just cutting things down. What does not need to be present? That's the real question we have to ask ourselves. What doesn't need to be present? Does weightlifting need to be present? What does the weightlifting skill do? Notepad, the weightlifting skill, the amount of weight you can carry. Don't need the weightlifting skill. Useless. Longsword, two-hand. No, unless we want to do like a weapon skill. And fantasy could be anything with fantastic elements, so anything that isn't real life, in reality. See, the thing is, that's the beautiful thing, is because you can still have fantasy elements in real life, and it's like, oh, well, this is our historical fantasy, this is our historical, epics, adventure, except it's some, like, small element that's slightly different, and be like, is that fantasy, or is it, like, weird old history? What does tactics do? I'm like trying to go through. Of course, it's your overall combat ability. So this is, tactics would be more like combat ability. Like that's what the skill would be. Ah, fuck, there's derived skills, isn't there? Fuck me, there's derived skills. Okay, let's just worry about this. Let's just worry about a single weapon, maybe. Do we have nested skills? Because if we have nested skills, like, it would be like melee weapons, and then you would have to choose like longsword, axe, scythe, and then you would have another skill called martial arts, and like you would have to choose like a specialty inside of it. Does that make sense? Because BRP did in the idea of the individual weapon classes. Let's cut that for now. What do the armor skills actually do? Let's play a game. PV bonus when the total weight of worn equipment is over 35. The bonus is flat. You get a bonus to your if you have the heavy armor and medium armor skill. No. Do you have a shield skill? What does the shield skill do? Am I going to be a wild guess? PV bonus when it is equipped with a shield. Well, let's see. So let's just put all the weapons in one category for right now. All the weapons are going to go in one little category. We will do like production. We'll call these production skills for right now. Production skills are going to go in their own little category. Weapon skills. Weapon skills are going to go in their own little category. Production skills make things. What does the healing skill do? The rate in which you recover lost HP. Don't need it. We'll call these skill, like technical skill, like technical. Like they're things that you have learned to do. We don't need light armor. I guess we don't need those. I mean, I guess evasion would be... I guess evasion would be like a combat skill. But not a weapon skill. It would just be based off of combat stuff. Lock picking is technical. Dual wielding is tailoring. Tailoring would go in production. Jeweler goes there. Disarm trap would go there. Short sword, I mean. Those would go there. Stealth. Cool. We'll just call this analysis for right now. So stealth and analysis are both there. Detection, I guess would be that. Fishing is a production skill. Eye of Mind, greater evasion. Ah, yes, I forgot. Greater evasion, very different. Eye of Mind, that is... your crit chance. Getting rid of that. Marksman and firearm. I guess we're gonna put that up in weapons as well. I'm noticing a trend here. There are many weapons. Literacy. I guess we'll call that a technical. Memorization. Go away. Alchemy is a production skill. Anatomy is a technical skill. Gardening, cooking, and gene engineer. Okay, so we've broken these up a little bit. So we'll do I'm gonna call these just Arcana for now, just to kind of get an idea of like these are just magic shit. Traveling would be technical. Writing would be technical. Meditation is bullshit. Casting is bullshit. Magic, all of this is just magic bullshit. Charisma, like personal, like kind of like personality. Investing is a skill. Investing a skill. We're gonna remove investing. Swimming, I guess you would call that a technical skill. And traveling. Alright. Cutting down all the skills down to their base requirements. We've got... Oh, goodness. Hey. We do have a new we have Musketeer Manly. You've got Magic I would say like alt history, unless different things like fantastic, like vampires. Some incarnations of BRP have simple weapons like clubs under brawl and stuff like swords under their own classes. Yeah, I know they do. Some versions do, some versions don't. So if we really break it down, we've got our basic production skills, we've got our technical skills, we've got kind of magic skills and charisma skills. Like, I mean, if we really want to be like... There we go, we can do something like that. I mean, we can change anatomy to medicine. Traveling, that's fine. Gene engineer, I'm gonna put the little star next to gene engineer, being like, you gotta learn gene engineering, kind of a special skill. So we've got a lot of these. Can we break these down at all? I think we can remove staves for pole arms. We can remove... I don't think we need marksman. Marksman's redundant. Because yes, we have to remember there are guns in this setting. Guns are very common. I guess we can do I guess we could just break it down to swords, and then we could add like daggers and kind of like we could do something like blades, axes, martial arts, scythes. I guess we can remove scythes and put them under axes. Blunt polearm. I mean, like, what else am I missing? Melee weapon-wise. Like, if we go under, tell me more about weapons. Size. Pole arms. No, they'd just be staves, so we don't really have to worry about staves as much. Short swords, there aren't many. Yeah, short swords kind of fall into daggers, scimitars, kitchen knives. Those kind of fall into the same vague categories. I mean, if we want to, we could make long blade, like, I guess you would call it like long blades, short blades, maybe something like that. Kind of break it up a little bit more, but is it mandatory? Maybe add esoteric for the really weird and wacky stuff. Misc weapons. See, misc weapons can cover a lot, and there's a lot of misc weapons out there. I guess we could do the idea of, like, miscellaneous. I guess we do, exotic weapons, and then we do exotic melee, and then we do exotic ranged. There we go, for the really exotic, weird shit. So that should cover most things in combat stuff. Then we've got evasion. Technically, we should add the block skill, but like technically we would add a block skill to this. But because in BRP, combat is resolved by opposing rolls. So effectively in BRP, what would occur is I'm attacking you. I rolled terribly. I rolled still dog shit. Come on, roll something. I rolled under my thing. I am successful. I've successfully hit you. You would then roll your ability to parry, your ability to dodge. You'd roll something, and then you would roll, and if you succeed on that, you've dodged out of the way. You know, you've gotten out of the way. I mean, maybe like... However, considers Zool to be way below his skill. He won't reap any honors for defeating such a novice. On top of that, he prefers avoiding trouble since he is part of the emissaries. Mission to protect the Lord's life during the conference. Therefore, he states his unwillingness to fight by noisily sheathing his katana. Fight begins. D10 add initiative to the results. What am I looking at here? Tell me more, I just want to know. Tell me more. Because, yeah, effectively, you would just make attack successful, so this would be attack and defense matrix. If you scored a success... Yeah, so if you score a success... Yeah, no damage, so it's just a... Yeah. Now, if you really want to see the, if you want to see how Elona handles that, to give you an idea, this is the actual math behind dodging and being accurate. Effectively, what occurs if you want to make a attack? So, if you make an attack roll, you are making a roll against your thing, your attack skill versus their evasion skill. And because of you have a perception attribute, because you have crit chance attribute, you're trying to do that. And then you're going to roll. Both sides are going to roll a d20 to pretty much augment their chance by up to 20% in that direction. Yeah, like it gets a little bit nasty. So we want to keep if we keep things simple. hey, what's going? We're just looking at Elona math. We're trying to cut skills up and try to determine skills at this point. Generally speaking, if we want the block skill, like BRP blocking, I gotta remember how the fuck blocking works. Like, because it gets a little bit weird when it comes to much like blocking and parrying in this concept. If you block with shield, you're essentially relying on mass structural strength to stop the blow. Through the shield. Okay. Because we're dealing with like evasion math right now, and there's things like greater evasion and evasion beyond that. So I mean, if we want to do, if we break it down into evasion, block, and parrying, and having a shield increases your block skill, but having like lighter, you know, having heavier armor reduces your evasion, blocking you're gonna take a little bit, parrying is kind of risk, is kind of a gamble. Let's see. I mean, detection. I'm just kind of like trying to figure out like what's, because Elona's skills are all pretty much nested into one another. That's the thing where it gets a little bit nasty, because you'll have like you'll have your two-hand skill, which influences your long blade skill, which influences your tactic skill, and all of those play into each other in a single calculation. We can't really afford to do that because that's insane, and that's made by a gibbon who has a computer. We have dice. So I mean, if we want, let's do combat is skill versus skill, crits taking priority. What is a crit? Crits on dubs. Crits on dubs would be about, crits on dubs are pretty fine. If you can critically fail, you can critically succeed. That's good. I'm okay with crits on dubs. Those make things nice and easy, and we don't really have to worry about things. But how do we... I want to create more skills. What do I want to do if I want to create more skills? Well, obviously, I think we should add blacksmithing, because we want to make items. So if we want to make items, what do we want to make? Jeweler, fishing, alchemy, gardening, cooking. I want to make, these are things that we, so weapon-wise, I think we're good weapon-wise. We could probably put crossbow and bow together, but I'm not going to. Combat skills, these are going to be like, we can even probably call these defense skills more than anything. We call them just defense skills. It's like, yeah, that's your defense. So production, things that we are making something. Well, let's check out the other autistic game. Skills. Go to Unreal World. What are we making? We want to do... Cracking is a good one. Yeah, woodworking. Yeah, carpentry. Tracking would go down here. We already have traveling twice. We don't need that. This is going to get changed, but I don't know how I want to do it yet because we don't know how magic is. because we've got basic production, like, say, do we have anything? What would be alchemy? So we've got mining, carpentry. Mining is producing ore. Carpentry is refining wood. Tailoring is refining cloths. Jeweler is refining jewels. Fishing is finding fish. Alchemy is refining materials. Gardening is, I mean, we could probably make alchemy kind of a special. Gardening is gathering plants. I mean, we could probably, I guess we could do like husbandry, kind of like refining animals and such. Kind of an autism skill, but it's there. Oh. Ow, my bones. We are either going to be producing or refining. That's the big thing. We are producing, we are refining. What can we produce and what can we refine? Crafting skills. Tell me more about crafting skills. We do technical skills. Go to let's go to the D2000 SRD. Maybe there's something we can find something in here because Rifts has everything and we love Rifts. Rifts is the best thing in the world. Let's see. We have something like investigation. Analysis can kind of cover investigation. We have something like sleight of hand. Not, I actually will call pickpocket sleight of hand. Actually, we can do some more like knowledge skill. Actually, we can put etiquette, streetwise etiquette, demolitions, fortification, charm, empathy, etiquette, negotiation, performer, perform, literacy. I guess we can put charm in there. The charm would be fine. Charm gets the point across. Do we need science skills? Not really. What industrial skills do we need? We need a piloting or riding skill. Do we already? Yes, we already have a riding skill, so we don't really need to worry about that. Wilderness. Outdoorsmanship. Do we have an outdoorsmanship? I guess you could call traveling outdoorsmanship. So let's rename traveling to that. It gives a better idea. I mean, we could add in tracking, kind of covers the survival. Nah, outdoorsman covers it. All right. What am I missing? What am I missing? We don't need magic capacity. Meditation. What does meditation do? Tell me more about meditation. Meditation, casting, control magic, magic device, meditation, which MP recovers naturally. Don't need the meditation skill. Casting, magic-based skills, casting spells. Control magic. Venture. I think we can call this like Arcana, with the idea being like that's your knowledge of spells. That's kind of the idea. Magic basically prevents you from hitting your allies. Magic device, that would be casting faith, negotiation form, literacy, streetwise, etiquette and charm. Yeah, alright. Alright. We're doing alright. Covers MP. Yeah. But we aren't really going to be worrying about that because currently, if we want to go over like HP, we find the HP. What is the maximum HP? Of course, it is this calculation: 5 plus life divided by 100 times character level times 2 times Constitution plus Strength plus Will divided by 3 plus divided by 25 plus Constitution. Of course. How could I have forgotten that? What a fool I am. So, I mean, if we're looking at... If we want to do, like, the HP pool... We want it up in the If we want it up into the upper limits, we would probably need... Because it's mostly derived from... attributes, so we could probably do strength, no, STR, strength plus con plus will, strength plus con plus will times 2 plus level times 5 plus so how much HP would my new math warrior have with this calculus? Let's take how much health would Sir Example have? So his HP would be so it's 16 plus 17 plus his will of 8. So if we add all of those together real fast using the power of that, 41. So it would be 41. So it would be 82 plus 5 plus 10. So he would have 92. He would have 92 HP. That would be his total HP, 92. And every level it would go up by about 5. Pretty linear growth, but certain characters are going to be more predisposed to it. You're always going to have a little bit of a minimum amount. That means if we want to hit, because you may be wondering why that much health, because you can get attacked by a weapon that's going to do 1d, that's going to do like 1d20 plus, 2d20 plus 15 damage. So it's like, oh, cool, he rolled a 20, he's 22, 37, he rolled a 37 plus like 10 or something. He rolled 47 damage. My armor blocks 20 damage of it. He got 27 damage. So, okay. We'll keep it with that. What's the MP formula? Tell me about the MP formula. It is, oh, of course. Guess we should put life in there somewhere. Of course. Actually, we can do, he's level 1, isn't that 78 HP? Maybe I might have done the math wrong because I'm me. But if we do the math here, that is also terrible. Wow, that's fucking awful. That's fucking terrible. So I mean, if we do the magic plus, we do mag plus earning plus will times 2 plus level times 5. Actually, plus level times 2 plus so he would have a total, if we're looking at this correctly, mana-wise, he would have a magic of 8 plus 10 plus will of 8. He would have a total of 26. He would have 40. No, he would have 52 plus 1, 2, 4 plus 4 plus racial bonuses with a total of 56 mana. Too much. What is the mana? The mana, like... It would be... So yeah, it would be like life. It would effectively be this, but maybe we cut out... We cut out the will aspect, so you have a lot less. But if you spec into magic, you're gonna have a good chunk that you can use to spend on things. Magic is a lot harder to get more consistently. Magic is harder to get consistently, but does a little bit more for you in the long run. Humans are going to have a penalty to magic because they aren't as magical, because most things are 100, but they are not. So, alright. Not perfect, but it's something. Maybe if we base off all our skills. If we base our skills, let's go to the Pianist. So you start with all of these starting skills. We want to play starting skills. So that's starting skills Skyrim. Starting skills. Yeah. We want the numbers to be a little bit lower than what's the difference between OVA and BESM? OVA is, yeah, a D6 system where you add like the results together, highest value, 3 it becomes 46. You add threes, 2 threes to get a 6. Yeah. OVA has some like they have the same, how do I want to word it? They have the same niche. They both enter the same niche, but they do things slightly differently. BESM has a lot more tools in its shed, you could say. Okay, so I mean, if we want to do this like scale start equal to their tied attribute. Let's see, skill start equal to their tied attribute to maybe a modifier. So generally speaking, your stealth is going to be tied directly to your dexterity or something like that, or your perception. You get what I mean. So it's like, hey, mining is inherently a strength-based task. It's going to be equal to your strength times 3 or whatever. Then you're going to be able, like, if you start with the skills, you're going to get an immediate amount of just points to put into it. Then you're just going to get a flat amount of points to kind of like, where do you want to put your skills? So I think this is a good set of skills. I mean, is there anything, I mean, if we want to be specific, maybe we can do like exotic range and exotic melee are things you have to invest in. You actually have to get a trainer to help you out with it. Because if we go to, let's get all of this. So spells. What is Magic Dart? Tell me more about Magic Dart. So, casting skill level is going to be your difficulty of casting it. So, your... God, you need a casting combat skill, don't you? Unless you put casting there and then we put counter, we do like counter casting. Or I like guess I would call it like counter magic. Actually, I know we can call it ward. There we go. That'll be your defense against magic, would be warding. Warding sucks, and you should never invest in it unless you're fighting magicians, and then you should do it. So, an armor is going to... Armor is entirely DV based, but it's also going to be tied to this, like, effectively we're going to have to make a gigantic quality chart holding legitimately everything physically possible. We're going to write a bunch of these. We're going to write a bunch of these as well, depending on the difficulty. Spells aren't really that complicated as long as you have the MP for it. Like, as long as you have the MP for a spell, you can actually do the spell. Perception spell, learning spells, divine wisdom, will spells. God, do we have to split? Maybe? Perception spells, learning spells, magic spells. I guess we can do, what would be, because each of these are tied to one of the attributes, meant for having higher base attributes, is healing more, so they scale differently. The actual casting isn't difficulty, but scaling is different. Depending on the spell, they're going to have a better time at certain other interval, which we haven't even determined what the fuck those are going to be. So, I mean, if we want to be... let's go to heal light. Tell me more about heal light. So it's will divided by 30 plus level plus 1 plus level plus 2. So it's your based on the your will. So we need to add modifiers to some degree. How do we add modifiers? If we want to, we can do just basic spell modifiers. Perception times 5. Everything scales. We need like a modifier for it, unless we just it as is. That is a very valid option, that everything just remains as is, and the there is no like modifier like a +1 or +2 or whatever. The modifier is quite literally just whatever the fuck it is. That could work. Not the best thing in the world, but it can work. Okay. It's magic missile. Ward could work versus monster special attacks like Dragon Breath and the level of casting necessary. It's the idea behind level. What I might do for like level of casting is either it's going to be based on the idea of like you cast spells at level 7. Anytime you cast a spell, it's going to be a level 70 if you have a 70% in your casting ability. If you cast it, you can cast it. Spells are going to have penalties, though. That's kind of the idea. It's like, hey, you want to cast a really complicated spell, that's going to be a level 7 fireball. If you want to cast fireball, it's going to be at a -20, where at level 1 and 2, that's going to be incredibly difficult unless you have like some bonuses to help you out casting it. However, if you have some bonuses and help, like that's not too bad. Alternatively, we could just demote effectively spells for bonuses. You gotta remember overcasting. Overcasting, yeah, no, overcasting is a thing. That's mostly if you just don't know you're out of MP. With that, I can probably do the idea that you can keep casting your spells even if you don't have any MP. You just are going to pay the difference in... You're always going to pay the difference in health directly. So it's like, yeah, hey, you're a warrior who casts, something which, yeah. That'll be kind of the idea on failures, I assume. Like, if you're a warrior, for example, and you cast a spell, it's like, or if I really want to, what I could probably do is the idea that if you cast a spell and it goes into your HP, it's whatever the amount of MP you still need times 2 HP. So if you needed 10 MP to cast the spell, suddenly it's 20 HP off. It's a lot, like, it's not nearly as efficient casting from your health bar, but you can cast from your health bar. For example, medicines learn times 1. Generally speaking, if we want to do something like this, it's going to be like times 1 is a complex skill, times 2 is a difficult, is a wonky, And common times 3 is a common skill. Times, actually we can do is times 0.5 difficult. Ubiquitous skill. It's kind of the idea is like, as long as you have it, you can do it. Like, you're always like martial arts. I can probably just rename that the brawling. Like, this would be like a times 4 like STR. Like, you will always be able to punch people, but actually skilled martial artists are going to want to delve into it. They're not going to do a lot of damage, but they're just going to be able to do things more. That's kind of the idea. It's like, if you want to be a martial artist, you're investing a shit ton into martial arts. Because you're going to be reliably hitting someone. What else am I missing? Spells are going to be a penalty. Spells are going to be pretty standard. Just going to be having to see what level you can cast them at effectively. And what level you can cast them at. What else am I missing? Because if we go on the idea that most skills are going to be just based off your attributes, you just need to determine attributes for most. That's the big idea. You just need to determine the attributes, and then you can get the skills pretty easy. And then you can just assign points. It's not exactly the most complicated thing in the world. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. Oh, Carl, I'm missing something. What is it? I mean, if we want to do... One of the things that's going to be a little bit complicated to emulate, I guess, is how combat's going. If we put combat up here, for example, I want to... We're going to have... Tell me more about longsword. Tell me more about Ragnarok. Tell me more. It's going to be about the material, isn't it? Materials. Materials. PV. Elona PV. Protection value. The protection value is effectively armor. Generally speaking, this is we're not going to be dealing with that, by the way. We're not dealing with percentages. It's going to be a flat value. But give me 1 second. I need to pull it up real fast. I need to pull it up in my own drive. Oh yes, I forgot. I just named it Agony. Agony. So if we put steel in here, steel longsword has a damage bonus, a hit bonus. Steel is a baseline. PV. That's your protection value. So I mean, if we do, weapons have a damage value. Weapons have a damage value, and quality dice. And quality die. Effectively, what it's going to be, like a standard like longsword, for example, is going to be written effectively as like longsword, as kind of like longsword 2dx. 2d, it's going to be written as 2dx. That's just what a longsword is at the end of the day. But if it's like steel, for example, if you have a steel, it's going to be 2d10. It's going to be d10 with a +2, with a +2 DMG and +2 to hit, or even like just a +2 damage or whatever. That's all it's going to be. You're gonna roll, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna hit, you're gonna be fine. And if we go under this, I walk up to you with my longsword, I'm gonna hit you over the head with it. I'm gonna bash your skull in. I'm gonna stab you, I'm gonna cut you, I'm gonna do something with my longsword. What occurs? What's gonna happen is I'm gonna roll 2d10. I'm gonna take my 2d10 here, I'm gonna roll. I've rolled a 10. And I've got a +2. I've done 12 damage to you. Ting! I've hit you right on the face. That is it. That's what my basic attack's gonna look like. But what really occurs here? So what we can do is we can either make the idea that, because if we go under, the fuck is def? What's defense? Tell me more about defense value. Evade increases the evade rating. Of course. It's your evasion. Because if we do, your PV is your protection value, your defense value is that. So I mean, if we go under the idea that your like armor is defense is your defense value, which acts as damage reduction. And if we want to go over here, it's going to be if we go with metal, max DV, damage bonus doesn't have anything like that. We have a magic hat. Yeah, damage reduction D11. You can literally have a damage reduction of 53% plus 3d11. That's not just 53%. No. That is 53% plus 3d11s on top of that. So that could be a maximum of 33 plus 86. 86% to a minimum of 56%. You understand why I am slightly hesitant to introduce this. If we want to do this, so we have kind of a deviant, we have a deviant mark here. We have a deviation in design, which we're going to have to make a call on. We can either do damage reduction. Damage reduction is a raw value. Or damage reduction is a die amount. This is we have a diverting timeline effectively. If we go with the idea of a rod value, everything is just going to be stacking on top of one another effectively. And it's not going to be as high. I can tell you that much. Because one of the interesting things about this, now this is the interesting thing about this, which gets a little bit hinky winky. No matter what at 110 PV, you will still take damage if you get hit. That's the interesting thing. You will always take damage. It might be 20% of the damage rounded down to like 1, but you will still take it. 80% of 1 would still be 1 kind of thing in this game anyway. Actually, it would be 0, but you get what I mean. Like, you can round it down to the point where it's, you know, it's effectively nothing, but you're still taking damage. Or technically, there's the third divergence. Technically, if we want to be real specific, is there's the third divergence, which is literally you're just taking a percent off the top. You're seeing why I am slightly hesitant about the third option. So yeah, we have a deviation. We have a deviation in design. So what is it? What is it, Commissioner Man? Do you want damage as a percent? Do you want damage reduction as a percent? So if I take 10 damage with 80% damage reduction, I would only take 2 damage. Damage reduction is raw value. So if I have 8 protection and I get hit for 10 damage, I just take 2 damage. Well, damage reduction is a die amount. I'm taking 10 damage. I'm going to roll my D8 here. And I rolled a 5, so I take 5 damage. Hold on, there's a ladybug in my room. This is what... This is a very fascinating thing to learn about. Kind of going under the hood of something like Elona. The more you go under the hood of some of these games, the more you learn about it. You do die amount as a way to simplify it. Effectively, what it would be, if we go down the die amount value, what you would be doing is you'd be taking your kind of like your body armor plus, you know, other armor as DX values. That's all it would be. So it's like I have a steel breastplate. I would be doing, it would be like 2D, I would like be reducing damage by 2d10 or something. Let's say I have a steel breastplate and a cloth cap. In a cloth cap, my full damage reduction would be 1d4 plus 2d10. With a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 24 damage reduction. There's a chance for perfect blocks, very likely in this situation, so I would have to put in a way to... There is a chance for perfect blocks, but I would probably put in a called shot system or something similar to that. Or just make it not as reliable, like just getting hit with your armor doesn't protect you against magic or something like that. Armor is going to protect you, but never going to save you, kind of thing. If that makes sense. Or just have minimum values for everything. That could also work. Just kind of the wear and tear of the situation. Alternatively, we could just... No, that's... I'm like, we could do it as derived and being just like, hey, if you fail your armor save, you have to... if you succeed at your armor save, they just reduce the amount of damage they do to a pitiful amount. But what I would probably do is you would take damage equal to the number of die they are rolling. If you... as a minimum. So if like, hey... they're gonna do 20 damage to you on 2d10, and you roll, and you would reduce it down to 0 or something, or like 1 or something. You would still take 2 damage, but that's just the force of the impact kind of thing. Like, you've been hit, it's like, ow, my bones, not feeling too hot. That's how it would effectively work. Because I do know for a fact that just using our basic longsword example, let's say we want to do a what's a good material that we can use? How about we use... why don't we use silver? We'll use silver weapon. Silver would be for a longsword, 2d13 damage. I would probably make it so that it is not as valuable. Like, if we go for silver here, like, silver isn't really good at blocking anything. That's kind of the... armor is never going to catch up to the weapon, if that makes sense. Well, I'm doing 8d4 would be the best in that kind of situation. Lol. Let's go for it then. See if it turns out. If it's not, use static value. So a weapon doing like 8d4 would be the best in that situation. Yeah, it really would be the best. However, here's the thing, Spartan. This is the thing, Spartan. 8d4 would have a minimum damage of 8. And would have a maximum damage of, if I'm doing my math correctly, it would be 32. However, you don't have the explosive possibility as much. You're going to average out into the middle a lot more. So think about it like this, Spartan. I have a club. A club is not going to do as much damage against you. You know, if I have like a hammer or something, a hammer isn't going to do as much damage to a person necessarily. You know, if I bashed you in the arm, you broke your arm, but I haven't gutted you kind of thing. But if you're wearing armor, you're gonna fucking feel it. I guess that could kind of work. Also give some of the weapons with like an insane number of die sides. Like, you will always be taking damage because you do get things like, what's the highest? The whip. The whip would unironically be a very good weapon. Well, you will have to change that. Because technically, like, a silver wakizashi doesn't do that. I'll have to think about it. So I guess we're gonna go. We will stick with the damage reduction as a die amount for now. Then we're gonna have to do is for initiative. If anything, like, explain to me strike ranks again. Mm. Taking turns based on decreasing dex order, but you can gain again dex. I'm okay with strike ranks personally. Like strike rank, we can do like a strike rank system. System with Dex plus con, actions around. So it's kind of like the idea that a warrior has the advantage of being able to take multiple actions per turn. That's their main advantage. But an incredibly agile warrior is an incredibly agile, tough warrior is going to want to go fast. They're going to close the distance and they want to hit you. But they might not be strong. They might be wearing really heavy armor, which is going to reduce their value by default. There's going to be things that are going to influence it, saying, hey, I'm a really fast warrior. It's like, yeah, this dude is insanely fast. He's going to be able to stab you 3 times very quickly in very quick succession when he's out of his armor, but he doesn't go anywhere without his plate armor on because he's a giant plate armor man. That could actually be a good balancing factor for the armor. Also saves me a little bit of headache when it comes to other things. So let's see. HP reaches 0, you are KO'd. Con divided by 10 plus 1 rounds to survive. Con divided by 10 plus 1 rounds to survive till death. Till death. So you can save yourself from bleeding out. However, if we want to do dead characters come back. Dead characters come back, but are or we can do the idea of how much does it cost? Elona, how much does it cost to bring back a companion? Determined by its level. So if we just do the level, yeah. So I mean, if we can do like return to town for a resurrection fee with a body. It's cheaper. With a body, it's cheaper. Requires a body or part of a body. Hey, all we have left is half his head. Hey, yo, what up? 411 on the comms. Oh shit, it's based on something. Nick Middleton, Ladybug, being an autistic fit on the wall. Yes, hello. Yes, it is based off the Japanese roguelike game, Elona. Ezona. Yeah, so we'll do like, if we want to do like full bot, if we want to do 100 GP, 100 gold, effectively, which is full body recent death. Full body recent death, and then we do like plus 50%, plus 1% body parts missing. So if 80% of the body is gone, it's going to be 80% more expensive. It's going to be 80% more expensive. But then we do like plus 2%, you know, it's every, you know, day of death. And then we do plus 5%, horrific death clause. If you die in agony and you are pretty much in a really bad place, getting you back up isn't going to be fun, and you're probably not going to have limbs. Pretty much, they're just going to regrow your body real fast. Welcome to resurrection magic. The secret to dying is that you just won't come back because of just horrifying amounts of income tax. The real vampire was taxation, everyone. See, that's how people really die. Taxes. Okay, so I mean, if we want to do... I have the class list anywhere. I do have the class list. I mean, if we want to do the class list, like... Classes are going to be pretty easy to understand. Classes are easy to understand. That's pretty easy to understand. I'm gonna put that in as like kind of an alternate idea. Kind of an alternate concept that could work fairly well. It would make combat go a lot faster. Percent of a body bit for ease of use. How much was lost will 100% have to... A lot of debate and argument. Yeah, that's gonna probably... that's gonna be a thing that you're gonna have to talk about. And like, I'm probably gonna either have to put a note or put like a thing there being like, you know, like, reasonably speaking, think of every limb as 20%, including the body. So 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%. So it's kind of that kind of concept of like, hey, if you lost half your arm, that's 10% that's roughly gone. If you've been decapitated, that's about 10% that's actually gone. It's kind of like, it's going to be a lot more broad, if that makes sense. It's the idea. What I want to do is like, carrying a body is going to be inconvenient. Carrying a body is a horrifying inconvenience that's going to get you killed because someone's going to be weighed down with gear, which remind me of a food system. What we're going to do is food stuff. Best. And the wind, and the wind. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, carry. That's kind of the one thing that I want to kind of like emphasize is like, hey, you're in the middle of a dungeon, you're doing things, you're fighting, you're in the middle of the woods. It's like, we can't bring this guy with us. He is a big, heavy, armored dumb fuck who died. We can bring his armor, we can bring the body. And someone proposes something very logical, which is, why don't we just cut his head off and then get that resurrected? And we can take all his armor and stuff. And it's like, yeah, okay, we can reasonably pay the cost of like a 90%, 90% more. He's level 2. It's only going to be, like 180 extra gold. We can afford this. We're going to make money off of it. Kind of Dragon Quest in that regard, I guess. And it's like, yeah, we can afford actually, decapitating a motherfucker, decapitating our friend, and then using that to resurrect him. It's like, haha, we've done it, everyone. But that's gonna be easy things for like, oh no, the fairy died. What do? Grab her little tiny body and throw it at the gunkeeper, and he'll fix her up. Because she's very light. She's just a little tiny light fairy that we just bring around with us. Because she's a fairy. Pat, Baki moment. It's always Baki moments. Etherwind's gonna be pretty easy to understand. Rest, like all of this stuff, like these two things are mostly going to be attrition mechanics. I can tell you that much. This is just going to be like, you're exploring the world, you are doing things. Are you prepared? Are you spending time doing things? Do you have enough food? Yes, reasonably speaking, you have enough food. Do you have enough rest? Yes. You can't travel for 5 days straight, you need to sleep. Easy. That's all they are. They are just attrition. You're running out of food, you aren't really in a safe place to rest, things are going to happen. Etherwind is, I'm going to have to remember the exact time of the month the Etherwind shows up. That's going to be kind of a moment of, hey, get to town if you're not in town and hunker down for the night. Hunker down is going to be about maybe 2 days where you're going to sit in the inn, you're going to fuck around, you're going to get taken care of roughly. And that's maybe a time for you to rest, to resupply, to do things, read some books, do some downtime. Etherwind is stop traveling, the environmental condition. Carry weight's going to be kind of the same thing. Super strong characters are going to have more carry weight than really weak characters. Okay. Alright. I'm feeling confident on this. I'm feeling very confident on this. The things that I'm not feeling confident on that I'm going to have to address. Limbs. That might get worked into the idea of like, hey, you have multiple limbs, you're a mutant, you're going to be developing limbs a lot more frequently. Generally speaking, what we can do for like mutants is, mutants are deformed fucking freaks. Every level, they're going to roll to get a new limb. Every limb they get, it's going to be something different. They can use things with those limbs, and like, hey, you have 3 arms, you can use that 3rd arm to have another weapon in it. Are we going to do dual wielding? I don't know. We're going to have to put in feats somewhere. Like, I know for a fact we're going to put in feats. Where those feats are going to come in, I don't know. But they're not really going to be feats necessarily. They're going to be something a little bit. Because, like, a lot of the feats are, like, lucky. You have a lot of health, vampiric abilities. I think that, like, feats are going to be kind of innate qualities of the character that they can get by time, by effort. But I'm probably not going to... How do I want to do this? I'm probably not going to put in things like fire breath or dimensional move. No, it's going to be negotiator. Cool. Believers. Cool. Ambidextrous. Cool. You know, expert accountant. Cool. You know, it's like these little bonuses that they can pick up and allow them to do things. And yeah. Most of them are going to be things like, hey, you get a small bonus. You're going to get a bonus here. You're going to be getting a bonus here. You're going to be getting a bonus here. You know, either positive or negative mutation. It mutates you. What does Etherwind do if you get stuck in a mechanic that mutates you? You know, neat. Damn, the MVP feed dimensional move gets cut. Yeah, because the ability to instantly teleport in an RPG is going to be pretty fucking broken. But generally speaking, what we can probably do with feats is you're going to pick a feat I would say like every other level or something like that. Every other level, or you get what I mean. And it's going to be like, you get a bonus to a skill. You get to reduce this. You get more HP. You get more ability, like you get an additional, you know, you are allowed to do something. You know, it's like, hey, you have something that is beneficial to you. Yeah. And I think having the ability to say like, hey, this is good for you is actually a very potent thing to say. It's like, hey, you're doing pretty all right. Here's something for you. Oh, cool. I like this. It's nice. I like having something. You know, this is something that okay, I was a little bit concerned about this. This is working out pretty all right. Let me think. Yeah, like, I don't think like the ability feats are going to be as useful, but it's like, hey, you've developed these, you have these abilities, you have these things, and it's like you are an aesthetic. You can level up your aesthetic 4 times. You can level up your defense, you know, your natural defense or something like that. It's like, hey, yeah, you are naturally a protected person. Even if you are wearing no armor, you have a base protection of like at least 2. Like you have at least, you know, you stike it out, you know, D4s or something. Like you have 1d4, 2d4, 3d4, 4d4. Or it doesn't seem like a lot, but yeah, it's 4d4 extra, you know, fucking hell. You know, it's 4d4 extra, you know, ability to block or something. You get what I mean. Because you're a natural tough bastard. A natural tough bastard survive. You don't need to rest as much. You can increase your carry weight. You have, you know, you're slightly resistant to the Etherwind or things like that. So, alright. Okay. Alright, I'm feeling not good, but I'm feeling better than I was before this. I feel like I'm missing something though. So I will think on that. This is gonna be a little bit shorter stream tonight. I'm gonna call it here. It's 1:04. I've been streaming for about an hour 40. I'm feeling pretty good. We could probably do with like maybe. I feel like there's some skills I'm missing here, but that might just be like. Actually, we can probably replace that with you can probably replace that with just like raw athletics, kind of like an expression of yeah, little things like that. Like I could probably add in some more skills that look vaguely appropriate. but I don't know where to put them. There's probably some other ideas that will... Next stream, Notepad screams, it wasn't okay after all. Pretty much. But yeah, no, like, in its current idea space. Because, like, the big thing is that this is not going to be a game of... How do I want to word this? Ooh. Oh, I don't know. Ah! Oh! Ugh, I need to, actually. Ooh, and then... This felt good. This is not going to be a game of, how do I want to word this? Necessarily adding in a lot of mechanics. It's going to be having a strong foundation, and then adding stuff to that foundation. Because right now, I think we have a solid, fine enough foundation. A D100 system inspired by BRP, mostly about advancing skills pretty regularly. We can add potential in with the idea of like every single skill in certain categories can only improve up to a certain amount every session. So it's like, hey, you've been improving these skills, but you've rolled over 16 at this point. You can't really improve anymore. We can probably rework the potential system to be something similar to that, but we can work with it. Currently, though, the main thing that I'm afraid of, the main problem child, you could say, very much is the enemy system. How to get those enemies to feel right. Because the enemy system is going to determine the pet system, which is going to determine the gene editing system, which is going to determine a lot of other little mechanics like that. It's a game about getting a core foundation, and with that foundation, having something to work with. I'm feeling decent, not perfect. I think it'll work. So, I'm going to call it there. Thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Godspeed, good luck. I will see you all tomorrow, actually, for the Fatal case. Yes, we're doing Fatal tomorrow. I have to read the rest of Fatal tonight. I'm excited for that, if you can't tell. I'm very excited. We're going to go over Fatal. Currently, I am in the process of little bit of a spoiler warning here. Is this John Fatal? I've been slowly going through creating John Fatal. John Fatal is not done yet. But I have determined, are you doing this by scratch? Yes. I want to see how bad it can get purely by scratch. Just going right through the book. You idiot, it takes 6 hours. We're just going straight down the book. That's all we're doing. And, hey, I got the time. It's fine. And here's the funny thing, because, like, I did calculate, like, have no fear. I did calculate my, my dick length, nipple length, anal circumference potential. I did all of that. But here's the thing. It's such a non-factor. Like, it's such a non-thing that I find it very funny. But, yeah, I'll talk about all this stuff tomorrow. So, thank you all. Godspeed. Good luck. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your time. And I will see you all later.